And our next guest, Sir Ed Davey, the leader of the Liberal Democrats, is often spotted campaigning across the country, paddleboarding, falling in, bungee jumping, and, of course, more importantly, getting a makeover on this very show.
He looks so debonair.
Very debonair.
Very debonair.
Got the same shoes.
Still got the shoes on. Still got his shoes on.
Excellent. But behind the politics is a very personal story. Ed has spent most of his life as a carer, first for his mum, then for his grandmother, and now for his 17-year-old son, John.
And he's not doing it alone, of course. His wife, Emily, who lives with multiple sclerosis, is right by his side. And as Ed releases a brand new book, this book here, Why I Care and Why Care Matters, the couple join us on the sofa. Thank you both for coming in and joining us this morning. It's lovely to meet you. We often meet your husband, but it's always nice to meet the power behind behind the brains, as it were. It's an extraordinary book, Ed, and a lovely sort of tribute to your relationship with your son, John. Will you tell us a little bit about John and what his journey's been like?
Yeah, he is undiagnosed. We don't know actually what's wrong with him, but it's a neurological problem. It's in his brain. So he doesn't have as much white matter as you and I. Something called the cerebellum at the back of his brain is smaller. And what that means is he finds walking really difficult and moving generally quite difficult. He finds communication and speaking very difficult.
It's affected his muscles and his balance. So we first thought it was cerebral palsy. And so it's similar. When you look at it, you think, oh, he's got cerebral palsy, but he doesn't have it.
And because it's undiagnosed, you're on this sort of journey, both with the people in the health service and other carers. And but we just accepted it, you know. He's our wonderful boy, and we've tried to make him or help him become as independent as possible, strong as possible. Yes. So he does tricycling and what other things?
Well, he loves riding his tricycle. He goes rock climbing, which is wonderful.
Sailing, he loves.
Sailing, yes, tying up the ropes. I don't know how much of the actual catching the wind he does, but yes, he does that. He loves swimming.
Swimming,
yeah.
Really,
So like his dad, he's got an adventrous spirit.
Oh, he's an adrenaline junkie. He is. You know, if it's wet, the wetter the better for him, and the splashier the better.
Amazing.
I think what the book also really draws attention to is the need for carers and actually how they are the unsung heroes of our country. So often there are people who are caring for people that you don't even know, and they're actually the people who keep the country going, both emotionally and economically.
Yeah, well, in the book, there are stories of 4 other carers, because I wanted to tell the stories of others, because I think there's 6-7 million people, they reckon, out there looking after loved ones. Many of your viewers will be looking after relatives, and that's what it's about.
Yes, I mean, we're not different from anybody else. It's a very ordinary story, in many ways, of being a carer. But part of the issue about being a carer is it's physically and emotionally exhausting. So by the end of the day, you just collapse into bed. You're not going to... When people send out forms from the council asking you about you're too tired to fill in the forms. So you never hear the carer's voice because they're just simply too tired caring. And there are so many people, and often I think about older people who are looking after older spouses, and they've got their own health problems, and they've got to look after their spouse. And so we're in no way different from them. In many ways...
Well, we're quite lucky.
We're not better...
We're lucky.
Yes, we're very fortunate.
And, you know, because I'm in politics, I want to make sure that I can be the voice of many carers out there who are exhausted and who have forgotten. And the point you made, Kat, that we actually rely on carers.
Really?
So if family carers said, well, I'm not looking after my loved one, the social care, the NHS would collapse, literally collapse.
Yeah.
So one of my views is if we can support family carers just a little bit more, that would help so many of the problems that we have.
And you are a leader of a major political party in this country. How do you do that? How do you find the resources, the infrastructure to do that? Because we can see how complicated it is for anybody that's in power to manage budgets.
You mean for the national solutions or for our own family?
Well, national solutions, I'd say first, because I understand that everybody has individual demands as well.
Exactly. I mean, nationally, we just want to keep talking about it, because if you look over the years, politicians and governments have kicked the can down the road. They've not faced up to it. They've not known what the solutions are. But we've actually had 25 reviews, commissions, inquiries, reports since 1997 about what we need to do, but no one's actually done it. So, and the current government's set up another commission, but not to report for 3 years and not to implement any recommendations it may have for another 10 years. So that's just, again, delaying.
Down the road.
And so I want to, whether it's writing the book or coming on this morning or whatever it may be, try to make sure it's in the political discussion and not forgotten about, as it so often is.
I think it's so important as well to reach all the different generations as well, because your mum was very poorly. She had cancer. You were looking after her. At what age? You were a teenager, weren't you?
Yeah, well, my dad had died when I was 4.
Yeah.
Mum became terminally ill when I was about 12 and became progressively worse, and then she died when I was 15.
Yeah.
So my brothers and I, with my nana and granddad, we were the carers for my mum.
And there's a whole generation of young people as well doing this great job too.
Oh, there are, well, nearly 1 million young carers, we reckon?
Yes, yes. They don't see themselves as carers at all.
No.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't even know the term young carer when I was a kid looking after my mum. But they miss out on education, on lots of life opportunities. And if we can support them, I think we can just be better as a country. And these 2 wonderful young carers have written in the book. And, you know, sometimes caring can be really tough. So there's a wonderful woman called Hannah who writes about how she looked after her mum when she was just an infant, really, in primary school. And her mum was abusive to her.
Oh.
So
lonely as well. I
so
think.
isolated.
Yeah.
And that's why I always think I've been lucky, because, you know, I knew my mum and dad loved me, even though they left us early. And I was in a loving family. We're a loving family with our son. But there are many people who either don't have that family support or they don't have, you know, we're lucky financially, you know, we know we can put food on the table. But often you find people who are caring after loved ones, they're really struggling.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think you've both been very honest as well, Emily, about the future for John and how you set him up, because that would be for any parent who has a child who needs a lot of care, the sort of the fear and the worry is what happens down the line for him. And that's unfortunately, that's the reality of it, isn't it?
It is, and I suppose part of the issue about being a carer is that a lot of your time is spent on just dealing with the immediate, and you aren't great at looking to the future and just managing week by week. But you can have hopes and dreams, and you can put down all sorts of, you know, I'm a solicitor professionally, but I could have trusts and everything, all sorts of ideas like that. But really, unless we have a caring community, nothing is going to work, because you can't force people to love people. You can't force people to care. But what you can do is create a community that cares, that people actually acknowledge carers and see the importance of carers, and enable people, allow people to get on with caring. So when he's older, he's living on his own, there is that support and that acknowledgement that the people they're caring for are important and the people who are doing the caring are important. That's the only solution I can see. But
Do you know, it's such a pertinent point as well, though. And as you've done, Ed, with the book, and you alongside him, and the Party Political broadcast that really cut through where we saw you with John and your family life, is doing exactly that. Thank you for popping in today and sharing your thoughts.
Incredible team.
Ed's book, Why I Care and Why Care Matters, is out now. It's lovely to see you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning.